Hello, Christian.
Hello, hello.
How you doing tonight? You well?
Everything's good. I'm
Fantastic.
really,
Fantastic.
really glad to be here. Thanks for
I'm
having me.
I'm absolutely I'm very happy that you chose to be here. It's very very kind
Well,
of you. You're a
to be
very
honest,
busy
I was
person.
surprised, but
You, why? Why? Do
I
you
don't
want to?
know.
But before we talk about all that, would you like to? Introduce yourself for the people out there who may not know who you are. Is that okay?
Sure.
Fantastic. Love it.
For whoever doesn't know me, my name is Cristian Angyal. It's the pronunciation. It's a Hungarian one. It's Angyal, and it
Okay.
means angel. So
Nice.
I'm Chris Angel. Unfortunately, this is the only word I know in Hungarian. So yeah, I might know how to ask for some beers or wine,
The
but
classics. Yeah.
yeah, and some food. So
Yeah.
I will not starve in Hungary. But that's pretty much everything I know in Hungarian. Unfortunately,
Fair enough.
uh, I'm a data guy. How I like to say it. I'm doing the link between business and IT. I have a
Okay. Yeah.
I'm working since 20 years into different industries, and my background is electrical engineering.
Oh wow.
And
There you
I've
go.
been in different positions up until I realized that I'm efficient and not lazy, and use it than redo the same stuff all over again. And to be honest,
Classic.
I'm lazy, and this is why I've learned stuff. And I started
I
with
think.
Excel.
Okay.
Uh,
No, I was
Go
going to say
ahead.
I was actually, I thought for a minute you'd frozen there. You just let me speak. You're so polite. Um, simply to say that I think laziness is sometimes a very important skill set to have. So I think this is no shame in it, mate. You know.
I'm not ashamed. I'm really proud of how lazy I am because this is what drives me to learn something new.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. This is how we develop new techniques and new ways of finding cool things to do by not wanting to do the boring way. There you go. Fantastic. Thank you much for telling us who you are. And so I think, yes, Donald's saying another engineer. Um, I've spoken to a couple of engineers before. I love this. Like I've said quite often, I really like the different routes people take into how they end up as a. What would you describe yourself now? What was your job title? Are you like a uh,
Oh, I'm I'm a data guy. Let's
you're
say it
you're a
like that.
data guy. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
I'm
It's
not an an IT full 100% IT.
yeah.
Even if I work in IT, and I'm not a business guy
Mm,
anymore because I know too much IT. So I
yeah.
know just enough IT to be dangerous with SQL, with all kind of stuff. Uh, this is a word that I've learned from Ken Pauls, my mentor. I know
Okay.
enough SQL to be dangerous.
Like
Uh,
it.
I had to learn it after I started with Power BI and everything.
Yeah,
So
sure. No, just
I'm the link between business and IT, to be honest.
yeah.
I'm translating business requirements for my IT colleagues to develop all
Understand.
kind of processes, data processes, and so on.
Mm,
And I'm translating or making sure that the apps and everything that is built
mm,
inside IT are suitable for good analysis with Power
mm.
BI in the end,
Yeah, yeah.
and provide the Power BI reports to the business.
So you're kind of like the human face of IT in data, basically. You kind of sit
Yeah.
there and you do all the connecting and you do all the kind of the conversational, the human element, and then
Yes.
the full on kind of IT, whatever
I love
scientists, engineers.
I
Yeah.
love your description, the human face. Well, yeah.
Have you seen the Wizard of Oz at
No,
all?
not. It depends. I remember I saw
Yeah.
a movie. I
This
don't know 20 years ago,
yeah, I
but
saw when I
I'm
was a
not sure.
kid. Do you
Yeah.
know
So
like
yes,
There's this,
then
there's this part at the end where the go to the point is to go to see the wizard, right? And they go in this huge palace, and then there's this little box or something, there's a person behind the curtain, and their voice keeps saying, do not look at them or pay no attention to the man behind the curtain," something like that, you
Mhm.
know. And that's how I
Exactly.
always feel about like really like hardcore, like maybe like engineers and stuff who like have no contact with us. Like, no, we are here, we are in our little data bubble. Do not just don't pull back the curtain. And then all the analysts are like, "Hello, we're the data people, we're the business people."
Ta-da!
Yeah, exactly right. Oh man, this is actually, it's funny. I was just speaking to someone about that today, about like how I enjoy being that, like that role of a data analyst, where it kind of sits between business and it sits between like engineering stuff. It's very good fun, and
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
And I saw the stream last week, and you were talking a bit about it, and
Ah, okay,
I,
yeah,
I'm pretty much in the same position. I'm
yeah,
doing the both the translation between business and IT, and
mm,
also I'm the face of the IT when we are doing all kind of analysis or
yeah.
new data processes and
Mm.
things like this.
Fair enough. That's nice. That's nice.
It's not
Um,
always easy, but it's good fun, as you said, and I love it.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think there are just different things that sometimes you just have to be very, very patient, um, which is nice. Patience is a good skill set to have, but sometimes I'm just not very, very patient, so I have to like really sit down and like take a deep breath and maybe talk in a nice way, then walk away and be grumpy to myself, or what's very important, I think, really for me personally, what's very important is to have like a good team or a good boss who I can just like vent with, be like, "Oh my God,
Yeah,
I'm so frustrated right now." It's like that element
you're
of
right,
support
and I
is,
know the feeling. I
yeah,
know the feeling, and I've learned to polish it over the years. I'm
yeah,
not that young anymore.
yeah,
Probably, if I would do the same things that I'm doing now,
mm,
10 or 15 years ago,
yeah,
it would have been much more different. Let's say it like this.
sure, yeah,
Now it's I've learned something. I don't remember from where, but it's better to be calm and
it is.
quiet than always be right. So it's
Yeah,
okay.
that is very, very, very true. Solid point, mate. I think it's also good to learn about like perspectives as well, like so
True.
often you,
Yeah, empathy and put
yeah,
yourself the other
absolutely.
shoes, and
Yeah,
it
because
is.
so it's really easy to go into something and just have, okay, I've seen all the data, I've looked at it from these points of view, and I think it's easy to think that your points of view, or that you've looked at it from every single possible angle, and then some person comes in and like says, "I don't agree with that. This is wrong. This doesn't make any sense." And it's at first, when you kind of first going down that path, can be really easy to kind of get your back up and say, "That's no, I'm right. That's not possible." So the more
Yeah,
interactions you have, you really have
comes
to
with
learn, like,
experience.
yeah, yeah,
This comes with experience, to be honest.
yeah, exactly. That's very true.
And as I told you, 10 or 15 years ago, a
Mm,
lot of things would have stayed differently, but not anymore.
yeah,
It's,
yeah, good, good.
I'm old enough to know when to back off, to know when to change
Yeah,
the questions, because I'm asking a lot of questions, and this is the
mm,
best thing about my job. I
yeah,
really get to know all kind of different processes inside the company.
mm,
Even if
yeah,
I have an engineering and a project management background,
mm,
there are areas in logistics, in finance, in I don't know, materials, supply chain, all kind of things that I don't know about.
yeah,
And if they really want to have a new process, a new
mm,
Power BI report, I
mm,
really need to understand what's behind it. And
yeah,
it's
yeah,
always good fun to learn about new processes, new things,
mm, mm,
and then connect them together.
yeah,
Uh, Having so many years in so many positions
yeah,
inside the company, it helps a lot because I can connect the dots easier.
yeah.
Uh, it's always
That
I'm
is a
always
challenge.
learning something new,
Yeah,
and
it's
I
not.
love it.
It is. It's really interesting. I think that's also for me. That for me, that has always been the biggest challenge, though, to understand so many different perspectives of a business. To say like, okay, I'm working with this data now, working with this process, etc. That can be really hard, and it's got. to bring up Donald's comment there, he's coming with the Dirty Harry
Yeah.
comment. So man's got to know his limitations. Yeah, you got
Yeah.
to know your limitations. That's a good point. Yeah, very true. And you never stop learning. Absolutely. Has there ever been a sort of data, like you say, you've worked with different processes, you work with different departments, whatever? Has there ever been
Mhm.
a type of data where you just been like, yeah, I don't like that. No, don't like it. Or have you, or you just too much of a flexible person?
I'm pretty flexible. To be honest, I don't really like to work with currencies and all
Okay.
kind of changes from currencies because the ERP systems is our
Mm,
ERP system, which is
mm,
not SAP, is working with lots of currencies, especially for different suppliers. And
okay. Yeah.
lucky me, there is a field. There are actually 3 or 4 columns. Everything
Mm,
is already translated into dollars. So,
nice. That helps.
woohoo!
That helps. I like it.
Well, I had to do some transformations depending
Mm,
on the receipt date and
mm,
the actual currency date in that day.
mm.
I used Power Query and loved it, but because I love Power Query, but
Nice.
uh, using currencies,
Yeah, I know. Yeah, currency conversion can be a pain. I
yeah,
think for me, it's always been. I'm not sure how intelligent it is to say this on a live stream, but I've never enjoyed working with marketing data. And when it comes to marketing data, I'm like, you know what? I don't care. It does.
yeah. I think I
There's
never did.
yeah. Just didn't do anything for me.
I remember a kind of data set that
Hmm.
I never liked: the surveys.
Okay,
Working with
that's
survey
interesting.
data, it's I don't like it.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. That's interesting. I like it. The reason I find
Usually,
that,
you have to unpivot, you have to do all kind of
yeah,
stuff here
yeah,
before
it's
using it,
yeah,
and the questions are actually the headers, and it is a pain to
it is.
get to have a good data set first.
The reason I find that so interesting is because the last project in my previous company was working with quite heavily with it wasn't the last project, penultimate I think, was working with survey data. I actually really enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. I think it's because I hadn't done it for so long. I'd been doing lots of like reporting based on like financial stuff, and then to work with like survey data, like people data, I was like, oh, this is a nice change, and it was messy because of course a lot of it is manual input as well. You have your check fields, but then people have like you have free form text, and you got to kind of group it in certain ways. Um, yeah, so I can see that if you can't bother with this whole like mess of just essentially the closer you are to the human input, the harder it is. And with surveys, you're actually quite close to the to the human input part. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, yeah, never mind. So I'm just gonna
I love working with SQL, and uh, as much as I can, I'm trying to work with my colleagues. This is why
okay.
I did learn SQL,
Hmm.
to know what to ask from them,
Hmm.
and to know them. Well, build me a view with
Yeah.
this data inside, or
Hmm.
build me a tabular function or
Hmm.
something.
Hmm.
Build me something so I can connect to it, because I still remember. I still remember when I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, when I managed to learn some SQL and do
Hmm.
some simple select stuff. I was so happy that I could use my own SQL queries
Hmm.
inside Power Query just at the beginning.
Yeah, that's
I
cool. Yeah. Hmm.
never knew about query folding at the time, and
Hmm.
now when if I'm opening one of those reports, even if they are still working,
Hmm.
I'm a bit ashamed, to be honest, because there is no query folding, no nothing,
Ah,
nothing.
okay.
I would really do completely the reports, but
But it's
well,
it's a
we're
it's
learning.
a good thing. What what
Exactly.
what what's worse? You look at it and you go, "Oh my god, that's so bad. I'm so ashamed." Or you look at it and you go, that's really good. I'm still happy with that." It just shows how much you've learned in the past few years. So you look back and you might feel shame, but you should feel pride about how awesome you are now. Yeah,
Yeah, I just realized that it can be done better, and I know how to do it better now.
exactly.
So not a problem.
Yeah, I think I said this a couple of weeks ago as well. I would have loved to have had the foresight to kind of save like one project that I've done like twice a year. So like since 2016, save my first project and then save another one, so I can go back over them and just be like, just laugh at myself,
And
you know? It's kind of like the equivalent of looking at photographs of yourself when you were a teenager and be like, what the hell was I wearing and stuff? Other than the fact that you look younger and slimmer and better. But the rest of it, you know what I mean? There's basically all the foolish things that you were doing. Same with code, same with building reports, you know?
so I have a kind of special project with my 6-year-old
Okay.
daughter since 4 years,
Mm,
since she's in kindergarten.
mm,
Every day when I was taking her to the kindergarten,
mm.
I took a picture of her
Jeez,
alone and a picture with the two of us,
that's cute.
including the pandemic and
Oh,
everything.
wow.
So she will probably be ashamed at 18 when she'll see everything.
Yeah,
But I'm pretty sure that at 30, she will love it.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, completely true. And I love that. I'm quite, in a way, jealous. I mean, there are some negative things to it, but the fact that we live in a time now where it's so easy and accessible to take store photographs. You know, I grew up when I grew up, when you grew up as well, I suppose. Like, you know, you have your camera and you have to get it developed and stuff. And I have like a long period of my life where there are no photographs. I mean,
Yeah,
until I'm like 20 odd, there are very few photographs of my entire existence. You know, it's a weird
I
thing.
was, I was lucky because we grew up in the communist time.
Mm,
I was born in 79,
okay.
so I was 10 years old when the communism fell in Romania.
Yeah.
And there were lots of limitations, including having photos. So you
Okay.
had to go to the studio
Mm,
and take some photos, some for weddings or for birthdays. And
mm,
this is pretty much everyone is having a very limited set of
yeah.
photos up until 90s.
Okay. Yeah.
But I was lucky that my father was very passionate about taking photographs,
Okay.
and he had his own lab, photo lab.
No way.
At first, he was staying overnight at work, and he had a room prepared. He was developing all the pictures, and he did everything.
Wow.
And then I learned from him at home. We were inside the bathroom with some blankets on
Mm,
the window, on
mm.
the door, and we were developing blue and white, no, white and black photos. And I have kilos of photos, which
Wow.
I was lucky, to be honest.
That is very lucky. That's very cool. I gotta say. Yeah. That's very no. That's quite a cool thing to have. I'm quite impressed.
Yeah,
Because like for me, I go back and I probably like 10 photographs. Like one. I mean, when I went to see Oasis in Edinburgh when I was like I think I was like 17 years old. You know, and that's one. And then it's yeah, it's
I have
really it's. Hmm?
cool. I have all
Yeah.
the periods except university. When
Okay. Yeah.
in university, money was for different things, and not necessarily having a
Your
camera and
your priorities change somewhat at university, right?
exactly,
It's you're doing your own
exactly.
thing. You're away from home or whatever the first time. You're like, yeah, let's go and do my thing. Yeah, I can understand that. Ah, shit,
And
very
for
nice.
me, it was even more different because I came to university to a different town, the
Mm,
third biggest town in Romania,
okay,
but I haven't finished a normal high school, a
okay.
civilian high school.
Mm,
I graduated the military high school, and I didn't want to go further
okay.
in the academy. I
Mm,
said, no, I'm going to the polytechnics because
mm,
it's enough. And
yeah.
of course, I had longer hair than yours. All the parties, I still had hair at the time. It was
Yeah,
curly, longer parties, rock
nice.
music, dancing, all kind of stuff for the
That's
first
cool.
2 years. And then I found my wife. We met in March
Mm.
2000, and we got married in September 2000. And this year
Wow,
we are celebrating 23 years of marriage.
that's amazing.
It
Congratulations.
is.
That's a wonderful thing.
Thank you.
That's lovely. See, it can be so heartwarming on these live streams. We don't just talk about data and tech stuff. We can talk about wonderful relationships as well, and photography
Exactly.
and
I was
memories of our
lucky, to be honest.
childhoods. Yeah.
To be honest, I was lucky because
Okay.
she's supporting me in
Mm.
all the ways, and she's very very nice, smart, and beautiful, and I'm lucky to have her, but I wouldn't want her to come because I wouldn't recognize in front of her.
Oh man, fantastic. Well, it's nice to have a supportive person,
Yeah,
especially when you have a job that can take up so much time with all the constant learning, etc., that has to be done.
yeah,
Learning
but
about this new thing is.
this is only since the last 9 years.
Mm,
Before, I had different kind of jobs with different challenges, and so
mm.
I did change my job for 3 times already since I graduated. First, I was a
Okay. That's
electrical installations design engineer, so I was
okay.
designing electrical installations for houses, for all kind of small industrial buildings,
Cool.
and then doing the project management for the electrical installations.
Mm,
Then, after a few years, I moved to a multinational, working inside the corporate environment on the product engineering and quality stuff,
mm-hmm.
learning quality procedures, customer care, customer calls, all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Then doing project management again. And then,
Wow.
since I was a product engineer and working with
Mm,
lots of data, and we
mm,
had a very complicated project, and this is how I started. We were having Office 2010 at the time,
okay.
and I hit the limit of 1,000 rows in a pivot table. And I said, "Well, we have many more data inside. We need more."
One
I
thousand
was
rows.
Yeah, in
Wow.
2010 there was 1,000 row limit in pivot tables,
Did not know that.
and I was the first one who had an Office 2013 at the time in the company, a special license.
Nice.
And then when I went to our IT department and asking for custom reports, they said, "No, no, go away. We don't have time for you. Maximum what we can do is to
Mm,
give you access, to give you a SQL login with
mm,
read access, and you just connect with access, and it's your business."
mm-hmm.
And this is
Okay.
when I started to actually learn about the basis of the databases in access, the relational databases,
Love it. Love
because
it.
I needed to. So I
Yeah.
needed to
Yeah.
to have the data. So I had thousands, millions of rows there, and I had to do something.
That's so cool.
And and then I realized in 2013, no, 14, I
Mm,
discovered Power Pivot and Power Query.
yeah. Yeah.
This is heaven.
Yeah. The
And then Power BI Designer,
the
and
moment
then
that
Power
you
BI.
just the moment that people discover Power Query, it's always this fantastic moment where you're like, ah, okay, very cool. Exactly. Good old MS
Exactly.
Access started a
It,
database for me also. Yeah. Yeah.
it
It
was the basis, the one-to-many relationships. This is where
mm,
I finally understood what are the bases. As I'm
yeah.
not an IT engineer, I
Mm,
had to learn everything. And but in the end, I'm still an engineer, and I
yeah.
had to understand. So
Mm,
one invoice, several items inside.
mm.
A code for the invoice, several
Mm.
SKUs for the items. Oh, one too many. Okay. What do you do when you have many too many? It was 2011 or 12, I think,
And
when
not as
I
many blogs back then, I suppose. Not as many blogs you could just hop on and read. Yeah.
yeah, and I had a very good teacher here in Timișoara, Teodora Frunză. She's the principal trainer of one of the biggest companies in
Okay.
Timișoara.
Okay.
Uh, she was actually at the Romania Power BI user group last month.
Oh
She
yeah.
was
Cool.
invited. It was the first Romanian session, because all the sessions we had up until now were
Mm.
in English, and
Yeah.
it was
Okay.
an honor
Nice.
to have her as the first Romanian speaker, and I loved
That,
it.
that's fantastic. I love that. It's kind of like meeting the person that started it all for you, right?
Yeah,
Nice.
exactly, and it was really really fun.
Yeah. I have to my people who have it's funny to see people who have like nice memories, if you will, of certain tools or the thing that's got them going. Because for me, all of my memories of Access are just very, very negative because that was a tool that was being phased out when I started working with data. And it was just one of the situations where the file was basically like bulging and almost exploding on a weekly basis. And I was like, oh, God damn it, Access, man, what are you doing? You're killing me.
It happened to me. To be
Yeah.
honest, it happened to me last month. There was a guy uh, sending me an email from the company.
Mm.
Do you still work inside the company? Yes, I do. Why? I have a tool that you've built, and it's not working anymore. What type of tool? I haven't built any tools. It wasn't one of the first access databases that I did with a form and everything. And I think I have put my email on the bottom at the time because of the support, different people working overnight and
That's
just
amazing.
telling them it was easier to send me emails. And the tool's purpose were for something specific.
Mm.
And I've built inside an optional thing which is surprisingly is still used today for a separate business. The tool
Amazing.
itself is dead. It's
Yeah.
only the optional thing that it's still working. And
That's
as
so
you said,
cool.
are you still
Yeah.
using it?
Yeah. That's awesome. I love it. I love it. I remember when I first started building Power BI reports. Obviously, there's some uh, huge number of terrible best practices. Of sorry, not terrible best practices, terrible practices, and one of them would be to create like a static DAX date table. Yeah, and I remember one of my logics was that I would just create a date table and just set the date for anything on like 10 years previously, and I would always make the end date of the date table 2035. Yeah,
Ah,
and I just picked that date. And obviously, not a great thing to do. You should do it a bit. But that's what I did. But my logic was always this: I always just say, look, the date table is static, okay, completely static. It goes up until 2035. If you're still using this report in 2035, you got bigger problems than basically the date table being broken. So I stand by
yeah, but
that.
do you prefer having the date table, the calendar table using DAX?
No, no. I mean, I don't use DAX date tables anymore. I think if
At the
in an
beginning.
yeah, 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 like in an
Mhm.
emergency situation, or if I'm just doing something very, very ad hoc, maybe I will. But I would never never create a date table in DAX anymore. This was like early. This was like 2017, early 2017, even. I hope. Am I lying here? I think I grew that out of that pretty quickly. But one of my old colleagues can correct me and say I did it for too long. Maybe I'm not sure, but yeah, that was one of the things. It was like just 2035. The first 2035. That's when this report's going to die because there are no dates left.
Honest, but having a very good DAX template calendar table, really
Yeah.
complicated, really complex.
Mm.
But for me, it was always easier to use the Power Query custom fiscal calendar that I'm using.
Yeah.
Just build. Yeah, speaking of calendar tables, let me tell you a story that I loved. I
Okay.
have a good friend as a DBA, and
Mm.
we had a very simple fiscal calendar with 5 columns with date, fiscal year, fiscal quarter, fiscal month, and fiscal week, something like this.
Mm.
6 columns, and I needed all kind of stuff like if it's a past date or a future date,
Mm.
all kind of
Mm.
additional columns.
Mm.
And after having the 30-day query folding challenge with Alex Powers a few
Yeah.
years ago,
Yeah.
I said, well, I should try to do everything to query fold. And I did build in Power Query a really complex or complete, let's say
Yeah.
it like this. calendar table with everything I needed.
Hmm.
And in the end, because I took care to have everything folded, I took the ugly SQL code that Power Query wrote for me and I sent it to my friend, a DBA, and told
Yeah.
him, don't ask me what's behind it. I know you will not love it. Just build a view out of it so I can connect to it. He said, are you crazy? What are those notations? Don't ask me. Just build a view. And
That's class.
I'm still using that view for
Real?
different custom
Oh,
reports. I'm still using it so I don't have to repeat all the steps. I told you I'm lazy.
I love the fact that you have a connection as a data engineer, and you can just say, "Don't ask any questions. Just take this and create a
Yeah,
view from it." That sounds like a
I
dream,
have
to be
good friends.
honest.
I
Yeah.
have good friends.
See, it's good to me have the connections that you just get stuff done very, very quickly for yourself. That's why I got to be nice to people at work, so you get stuff done quickly.
Yeah, but this came after many years of working together
Yeah.
and knowing what the other one knows and knowing how to
Mm,
having trust one another because
that's
they
true.
know I wouldn't do any stupid thing and I know they wouldn't do
Yeah,
anything that would break anything. So
of
it's
course. Yeah.
we know each other since 15 years, so it's okay.
That'll do. That'll do. One second. Oh, one second. Wrong. Brought the wrong comment up there. What's an emergency? What's a reporting emergency situation? Like, if you got something that's very, very ad hoc and you want to do something really quickly and just like, yeah, okay, tick it quickly, copy paste the DAX calendar, done, sorted, and ship it out. It's basically something that's very quick but isn't going to be
Mhm.
used for very long. Like nothing that I'm going to publish. Basically, if someone wants to quickly look at the PBIX, just what I mean. Yeah, I draw anything that's going to be published. I'll draw my line. I won't create DAX calendar for that. And yeah, we all need to have a good database, friend. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
that
very
number,
true.
you're right.
Yeah, very true. Always have a good DE friend. Yeah, make those connections in the data team keeps everyone happy. Get a
Yeah.
sneaky little. Basically, anything that means you don't have to open a ticket is always a nice thing.
Well,
Yeah.
you do have to open the ticket, but you will open it after the problem is solved.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So this is the big advantage that you can still do your stuff and
Mm,
don't wait for 3 days or how many someone sees the
mm,
ticket to approve it.
yeah.
Just build it and then create the ticket and say, okay, this is the number of the ticket and it's okay.
Yeah. Open it, give them the number, and then immediately marked as resolved. Love it.
Yeah.
So on a day to day, what do you find yourself doing? Like, do you have your head buried in creating reports, or what is your day look like?
It depends. It
Yeah.
depends on the period. Some projects where I'm using really big project, for
Mm,
example, for 6 months, I think I'm
mm,
working on it. It is huge. It's one of the biggest that I've worked.
mm,
And the tricky thing is that I'm working in Power BI
mm.
and not having any page built. Well, actually, I do have one to check some numbers. Everything that I
Okay.
do
Mm,
is Power Query behind it
mm.
because the end result must be an Excel file. So I'm building
You build
all
a
the
data set basically.
transformation.
Yeah.
Yes and no. It's a very wide um,
Okay.
Excel file with 60 sheets or something like
Oh
this,
dear God.
which is used for financial reporting,
Of course.
the
What else?
official financial reporting in a specific format
Mm,
that it needs to be an Excel file, which needs to be converted to an XML. So I'm using Power Query in Power BI to convert everything in the right format from different hundreds of sources, ERP
wow.
system, all kind of
Okay.
stuff.
Mm,
And this is on one page, on one stuff. Most of them, most of the time, I'm working on different Power BI reports that
mm.
are helping the daily operations
Okay.
in a manufacturing company. As I work in a manufacturing company, we are having lots of systems that are
Mm,
tracking data
mm,
from manufacturing execution systems to different databases, different internal developed
Mm.
tools,
Mm.
ERP system, things like this.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of lost time, if I can say it like this,
Sure.
in getting, transforming, handling data from one system to another, doing reports. And I love when I remember when I was working in the production line, and
Mm.
I needed a specific report, and it was so complicated. It took me 3 hours to get a specific report, and then next week I had to do it again.
Mm.
And I know the pain. And
Yeah.
when someone is coming with a small request, everybody knows me in the company, either
Mm.
working very well in Excel or in Power BI.
Mm.
And everybody is coming with, can you help me with this formula? And
Mm.
usually I'm asking, why do you need it? Well, I'm getting data from there and put it
Mm.
there.
Mm.
And usually it's some simple Power Query that
Yeah.
can fix the problem if you are connecting the right dots. And in the end, if
Sure.
you put a Power BI report over it,
Mm.
everybody's wow.
Yeah.
This used to take me 2 hours a day for 15 people in the
Mm.
company. Now we have everything every 2 hours. Everything is refreshed, and I love how people are freeing up time to do
Yeah.
something that really matters and not
Yeah.
handling data.
And it's interesting that Power BI is a tool and Power Query also. They're both tools that have existed for a number of years now,
Yeah,
but there are still so many reports or processes and whatever data processes that don't use that at all, don't use any Power Query, and still there's it's like there's still like a backlog of like 20 years across all companies of just processes that have never been touched, never been updated. And you think that at some point that this wouldn't exist anymore, but they do. They're still there. They're still waiting to be improved into some person. I remember some communication a while back now, and there was some process that had just been sitting in the background for years, and it was someone's job like every day to do like 2 3 hours of copying and pasting. And I was like, that can't be. Yeah, we haven't had a chance to update it. We haven't had a chance to improve it because this reason, that reason. I'm like, that is, it's just, it's weird to see that it still exists, you know? But
yeah,
it's
yeah.
for people like us, it's, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure about you, but I get a great joy from taking that and like, look at that.
Me
It's cool,
too.
no?
I love it.
Yeah.
As I told you, there are, until now, I told you, two Power BI reports and all kind of data transformation. There is
Mm.
another big area that I'm taking care of. It's the simple integration of the entire Power Platform with Power BI.
Okay.
I mean, designing data flows or
Mm.
simple Power Apps reports, so I can get the data in a certain format where I can put a Power BI over it.
Mm. Mm.
This is
Mm.
one stuff. So I don't know, replacing all kind of paper forms with
Yeah.
Microsoft Forms and writing data to SharePoint, or
Yeah.
all kind of stuff like this.
Mm.
And then there will be another part that I will take care of, and I will or next month a kind of internal training. So it makes me
Okay.
really mad to see people not knowing that Power Query exists. And I don't want to be,
Yes.
even if I'm a certain, even if I'm a certified trainer since years, I don't want
Mm.
to do a standard course, because everybody, you don't know if they have time or if they are
Sure.
really into it. And my idea was, and I will do it like this. I will do a video, a general, probably half an hour or 1 hour video of
Mm.
several examples and what Power Query is in Excel. I
Yeah.
don't even want to get it into Power BI.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then 10 to 5 to 10 minutes video with some samples every
Yeah.
week. So one
Mm.
video a week, a sample file, and 1 hour Q&A for that week.
Yeah.
Whoever wants to see it,
Mm.
he has a week to see it,
Mm.
test it, with their own data, with the sample data that I'm providing, and come the next week at the end, come for Q&A if they have any questions. I don't want to force anyone, but I think presenting the people the advantages, the old way and the new way,
Yeah.
and making them understand with some work specific data. So I will try
Yeah.
to mock up some data that are close to I don't know, material teams or financial team or
Mm.
things like this, so they can relate easier.
Mm.
I think that this spread of word about Power Query will help. It's like in the Pareto chart.
Yeah.
80% of the job is done with 20% of the knowledge. So
Yeah.
if you know a bit of Power Query and you understand the basics, you
Mm.
can save a lot of time.
Yeah.
And then if you really want, you can go further.
Yeah.
Nobody
That's
needs
true.
to be Imke Feldman, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's interesting. Actually, it sounds quite similar to what I'm doing at the moment. Also, and my job, basically trying to get people to use Power Query more. And I was speaking about this in the past couple of days, and we're talking about actually taking a couple of existing reports that have performance issues and doing like a before and after. So showing them like the performance before, and then doing like the best, like some a lot like some tweaks using Power Query, implement some best practices so that people can see what it looks like, how the performance is, the size of the file after you've done those things as well. It's not just say you can do it. Look, this is what's possible. Click here, that happens. But if you do these things, this is the benefit that you're going to get. So like these are the best practices, and these are why they're the best practices. It's very helpful too, I think. So cool. Good luck,
That
mate.
was even thinking to. I'm planning to do this for a period of 12 weeks. Let's see
Okay.
if it's possible. And in the same time, I was hoping to record the videos in Romanian too, because there is
Mm.
not much content in Romanian.
Yeah.
So I
Good
will,
point.
even if in the company, I will do them in English. I
Mm.
might be publishing them in Romanian for the Romanian community, because
Yeah. Yeah.
it's getting bigger and bigger. And,
Good.
I love it.
Yeah. That makes sense. Nice. Yeah, I think at one point I considered doing a couple of videos and stuff in German, but then I thought, you know what? There's enough content in German out there, I think, and my German isn't good enough to kind of warrant me kind of fumbling through a how-to video with using the wrong words every now and then. I was like, I think it should be fine. I'll stick to English. It's a big market for English. It's quite there's a lot of people
Yeah,
there, but it makes more sense to stick with that phone to give
and
myself more work to do in a language that I'm kind of okay at. You know?
and for you it's easier because it's the native English. For
Yeah.
me, having them in English, it's a bit
Yeah.
of a pain.
Yeah.
But since I have them like this, I
Hmm.
can do it. Well, it's a kind of Romglish, you know. Some words are not translatable. Let's say it like this, or I don't
Yeah.
know how to translate them, and
Sure.
it will be a kind of combination. But
Yeah.
for the non-English speakers, I'm pretty sure it will
Yeah, of
help.
course. Yeah. So
And the
I mean,
Excel community in Romania is pretty big.
nice.
You having the Romania Power BI user group, we are
Hmm.
planning to even grow it further.
Hmm.
We have a co-organizer at Romania Power BI user group
Okay.
starting this year, so we've doubled since June
Wow, very
all
cool.
the meetup, all the number of meetups. We have
Nice.
new partners on Romania Power BI user group for the Romania track.
Yeah.
So for the English track, since 2 years now, in August we will have 2 years. We have a very special partner, Enterprise DNA, and they
Ah,
are
okay. Well, there you go.
offering they are offering 2 licenses for what the live attendees every month.
Wow, that's very impressive.
It's a lot, and we are helping a lot of people. They are
Yeah.
helping a lot of people using our community or from our community.
Yeah.
And since June, since we've doubled the number of meetups, so we have two a month, one in
Hmm.
Romanian, one in English.
Hmm.
We have another partnership with the company that I used to get the first training that I told you about,
Yeah.
and they are also offering one free training voucher on every meetup.
That's
on
really
any
cool.
of their courses in Power BI or Power Apps.
Nice.
And a lot of people will learn more, and we are trying to
Mm.
facilitate the
Yeah.
connection, get as many people inside, and help them
Mm.
save their time in the end,
For
because
sure.
this is the purpose.
Are you is it online or in person, the events, or is it a mixed?
Until now, it was everything online. We
Okay.
are planning to go in person at some
Mm.
point, but nothing
Mm.
official yet. Hopefully,
Yeah.
the first in person meetup will be this year. And if possible, starting next year, we might even organize a data conference. Let's see.
Cool. A new conference. Everyone loves a new conference. Everyone loves a conference in general, but a new one even better. There you go.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't want to have any spoilers, but
It's
we
a
might
big.
have something.
If you can do it, that'd be impressive. It's a big undertaking.
Yeah, it is.
It must be a huge amount of work and organization. And I think someone mentioned last week or a couple of
We
weeks
have.
ago about the points about having one in Berlin. And I was like, it's just so much work. So respect that you try to do that, mate.
We'll see. We have some good partners and very good ideas, and
Mm,
we'll see.
nice. Very cool.
It might
So
be something next year.
getting back to the topic of like Power Query that you work on, so Power BI, whatever. Is there something it's like the question that I always ask that I think I forgot to ask last week? There you go. What's the if you could change one thing, if you could improve one thing, should we say, that affects you very often, what would it be?
In Power BI, you say.
Or Power Query? Yeah.
Uh, to be honest, I don't like that I cannot customize my menu.
Okay. Yeah, that's
So
a good one.
I'm always using the quick access toolbar, and I'm trying to push as much as possible
Mm.
using the buttons there.
Yeah.
So I think I have a muscle memory for already with Alt 3
Okay.
to start.
Yeah.
Alt 3 is the advanced editor for me.
Yeah. Okay.
So in Power Query,
Mm.
if you by default the quick access toolbar, it's pretty hidden.
Mm.
It's on the top left above the menu. Nobody sees it.
Okay.
But if you're right clicking a button
Mm.
and pin it to the quick access toolbar and move it
Mm.
underneath the menu and the buttons, you have everything much closer to your hand.
Mm.
And whichever buttons or order you are putting there, when you press the Alt, you get a number for every item on the quick access toolbar.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
for me,
Mm.
on all my PCs
Mm.
at work, at the remote, at my personal PC,
Mm.
advanced editor, it's the third. Even in Excel Power Query, it's the third there, and I'm always doing all three, and I have it here.
That's cool.
I think I would save I would have to, if it's possible,
Yeah.
to get a kind of export on the buttons and even customize some additional buttons.
Mm.
Do your own custom buttons or macros if you
Yeah.
want.
Good one.
If I could do it, it would help.
Mm. Yeah.
Probably there are others that are pissing me more, but this is the thing that I always have to do
Mm.
when I'm changing my laptop. For example, I got a new laptop 2 weeks ago,
Mm.
and I still haven't finished to set up all the Power Query things and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. And if you think about it, when people work with like Power BI, if you're at a company who uses a certain sort of data and you're connecting to the same similar data sets, when you do that, you're going to tend to use the same options quite often. So there'll be some that you very rarely touch because you have no need to. So if you could better organize those things and really just have 10 or 5 key options and somehow the rest, yeah, that could be quite cool.
Yeah, but I think that company needs to be really, really big, and you would have to be very niched to
Hmm.
work more or less with the same data sets. In my day-to-day job, The only constant thing
Mm.
that I'm touching is the custom fiscal calendar.
Okay.
Everything else changes.
Mm.
So everything else changes. So I don't have time to
Stream Deck for the
get used
win.
to it.
if if you have a like a really very well developed like for example a data warehouse or cube where everything's kind of formatted in certain ways and you only connect to like similar data sets, that could be like really just you
Yeah.
important data and you only have to use a few things. But yes, you're right, if you're connecting to very very different if you use like multiple like different like data sources like APIs, like sometimes Excel,
Mhm.
sometimes this, sometimes that, then sure. But I think quite a few companies will have quite a clean, well set up, you know,
Yeah.
cube or something. So that could work. But yes, generally
So
speaking, regardless of the reason, yes, it would be nice to be able to do that. And it's something I never thought of. So that's a good answer. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. And another new perspective of how things could be improved within this tool that we love so much. Have you had a chance to play around with Fabric at all? Do anything click in there?
not much,
No.
not as much as I would like to.
Yeah.
There are some areas inside that I will probably not even touch them
Yeah.
in the future,
Yeah.
like Synapse or
Mm,
all kind of things that I'm not using it,
mm,
and it's pretty complicated. Even it was pretty complicated even before Fabric
mm,
to stay up to date.
yeah.
Now with so much information, you have to choose your
Yeah.
battles.
I completely agree
So
with
I
that.
will probably not even touch unless I really need to
Mm,
Synapse or things that I don't work with
yeah.
currently.
Yeah.
I know that I have some possible areas to for improvement in the visual stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm much more of a backend data modeling guy
Yeah.
and not really a wizard for the visuals. Yeah, I can manage it. I've learned the theory,
Mm.
but I still don't like it. Even if even if I know that if you have the golden data model behind
Mm,
and you have an ugly matrix, nobody will say, "Well, what a nice data model."
yeah. Yeah.
So you have to have some skills there, and
Of course.
but I still need improvements
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So I would rather spend my time improving the things that I need
Mm,
than staying up to date. Yeah, I need to stay up to date to some things to know that they are there,
mm.
but I will probably never go into details soon on different stuff on Fabric.
No, I mean, like regarding the visualization side, I mean, I will always argue that data visualization is a very important aspect of it for user acceptance and a number of different things.
Yeah,
But you can never say it's as important as clean
exactly.
and accurate data. I mean, you can never say that because it's just a necessity. So you're always accurate data. So sure, have a beautiful visualization, but if the data is built on as garbage, it's never going to be the best situation, basically.
I'm
And the
spending
mod,
a lot of time in the backend.
yeah. I'm just going. The modeling is the fun part of Power BI. If each to
Exactly.
their own, each to their own. The modeling is a very important, and I can see it, but
It's in my view. And let me show you something.
show me.
This one. This
Oh,
is
nice.
the Orange Book.
The orange book, right? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, really, really good.
Hmm.
Totally recommend it to everyone.
All
I'm
right.
having on my desk.
Nice, good man. Yes, no, I mean modeling. Yes, of course, is like hugely important as well. So I accidentally fell into the visualization side. My favorite part of Power BI, it has always been Power Query and visualization, like for sure. I just got more involved with the visualization side, and it was accidentally. But the more to enjoy reading about it and kind of going through like what's possible and exploring different ways and different techniques. And
I
it
saw your video with the car visual. I loved it,
Oh, cool. Thank you,
but
mate.
I will probably never have the patience
Yeah.
in the next 6 months, probably, to even try to understand what you did
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
If I can get the code and adapt it, it's perfect.
That's what the templates are for.
But otherwise,
That's why I finally started using GitHub, because I was like, you know what, let's just do some templates, Ben. Stop being so lazy. So all the templates are great for that sort of thing. But yeah,
yeah,
no, I still love Power and I love working with it every day, but I'm just not so outward with it, because I thought, really, for me, where can I be more productive? Where can I be more of help? I think
mm,
there are some already fantastic sources for Power Queries and like YouTube content and stuff, but just simply because it was Deneb and there was less, I was like, let's just focus on that. So I do get worried sometimes that people think I've got no idea about anything other than Deneb, but I don't care. That's that's just what I work on. Oh man, but it's good fun.
changes. So if I find a rabbit hole that I
Yeah,
want to dig into, I'm going that way.
yeah,
It never. I'm never staying in the same area
no,
because there are so many things to learn,
mm,
and the more you learn, the more you realize that there are even more things to
yeah,
learn. So yeah, you have to know that a lot of things exist in different areas. But I had a really good university teacher,
mm,
professor, that told us, you are engineers, you don't need to know the formulas, all the formulas by heart.
mm,
There are books for this, there will be internet and all kind of things. You have to understand how they work,
mm,
and you have to know how to apply them
mm,
and where you can get them from.
mm.
And I'm still applying this
Yeah,
principle.
thank
I
you.
don't have to know everything by heart,
Mm,
but I need to know that there is that
yeah,
something can be done in a certain way,
yeah,
and know who showed it so I can bookmark it and
right, exactly. So
find it
it's
in the bookmarks.
kind of like knowing what options are available,
Exactly,
so
exactly. Knowing your options.
yeah, I completely agree with that. And especially going back to what you said before about fabric and how there are now even more things to learn. I was thinking the other day, I was like, I feel like I'm kind of getting like fabric fatigue, because I did as you said. I was like, look, these parts I'm probably never going to use ever. They're there, that's fine. But the other parts that are a bit more relevant, I'll read about them. I'll see what's a bit more knowledge of what's possible. But you can't be expected. Like, and I think people said straight away as well, you can't be expected to read all these blogs, learn all these new tools, and like, oh, now I know how to build whatever data lakes. It's like, no, it's fine. Just calm down,
Yeah,
right?
I'm interested in because
Mm,
this might help me, like
yeah,
Data Explorer, One Lake, and things like this in the
mm,
Data Flows Gen 2.
yeah,
But in my head, I'm still struggling whether in the future I should learn Python or R.
right, yeah,
So I know I will have to learn one of them. I still haven't decided which one.
yeah,
I've seen some good examples in Python, and I know it's really um, um, used everywhere, and everybody's the new kid on the block. But I've seen some R examples which are
mm,
really, really, really good. And actually, in August, Brian Julius will come to Romania Power BI user group with some R examples.
okay.
So I still haven't decided yet, but
Everyone says Python, man.
it's Python. Yeah, I know.
It's got all the votes.
Does it have more libraries, or why? Is it easier? Because I haven't touched any of them yet, but
People in the chat
uh,
answer the question. I can answer that
Ronald,
question.
Fernando.
There you go. Let me tell you, I had this that came up for me a couple of months ago.
Mhm.
Should I learn Python and should I learn R? And I can tell you what I decided upon.
Please.
D3. I was like, should I learn Python? Should I learn R? And I kept going back up and forth. And then I was like, and I stumbled across it. I was like, you know what? I'm going to learn D3. So I went for neither and learned something
How
completely
come?
different. It's brilliant. I'm loving it because I kept going deeper and deeper into the data visualization side. And I think it's primarily because
Spark. Fernando
Spark.
is
Oh,
saying
okay, there you go.
Spark.
It has all the libraries, and there you go.
Yeah, but even R, it has a lot of libraries, and both
Yeah.
of them can be integrated with Power Query.
You
So
know what? I think you've already made up your mind because
no, not yet,
no, because
not yet. To
you
be
seem to
honest,
be defending R a little bit here.
no, because I know Python could be used outside Power BI too, and
Okay,
lots
okay,
of other stuff. And
okay.
I told you I'm efficient.
Hmm.
I'm lazy.
Yeah,
So
fair enough. So
this is why I've learned M and Power Query, because I could use it both in Excel and Power BI.
yeah,
This
yeah,
is why I've learned DAX as much as I learned it, because
mm,
I can use it in Excel and Power BI.
yeah. That's fair.
So if I'm learning R, I will try exactly.
Why
Donald,
not?
why not?
Why not? Why?
Well,
You
probably not in the next year.
learn both. You don't need to sleep, right? Just learn both. Is what I'm saying. Come on, just like you're gonna like every night you can do 2 hours of R and
Do,
then 2 hours of Python. Then you can go to bed and cry
do,
a little
do
bit
you
when you
have
go.
weekends?
Exactly right. Oh man,
We'll
where
see. We'll see.
where are the D3 videos? Mine, I might make a D3 video when I can do more than draw a straight line. Um,
Hello world.
regarding other people's, there's I've actually started. There's some great blogs about D3, and I think I signed up for a course. I paid like $40 for it, which I'll start as well. But yeah, if at some point I'm capable of showing someone how to do anything. It's going to be a long journey because it's much more complex than I'm used to learning with, working with. I've got to the point where I can understand other people's code, but I
Which is
can't write my own. You know,
good. I'll
is
tell you a
that
story about this. I
please
can
please do?
totally relate.
Yeah.
I can totally relate. Let me tell you a funny story about understanding code and writing it.
Okay.
Back in 2016, when
Mm,
I discovered more and more Power BI was the
mm.
new kid on the block, and I was waiting every month Amanda's Amanda's video, the Christmas every month, and
Yeah.
I was trying to get to learn more DAX and everything,
Mm,
and I said, okay, I will get the best trainers out there. I want to go to Alberto and Marco's courses, and they had one in October 2016 in
okay.
London. Said,
Okay.
okay, I want to go there, and I went to London. I was woohoo! And on Monday morning we started at 9, and at
Mm,
10:30 I was lost already,
mm.
totally lost. And I had it, a bit on Tuesday morning. I was trying to understand some things in the evening, and then the second day it seemed that I can understand again, and then
Yeah.
no way.
Yeah.
He lost me. Well,
Yeah.
when he came to optimizing DAX on Thursday and Friday,
Gone.
total failure. Well, meanwhile, I bought their video courses,
Mm,
and I took mastering DAX every year. Since then,
cool.
since 2016, I'm taking the course, the full course every year.
Wow.
And last year, I've been to SQL Bits,
Mm,
and I've been in a pre-con with Alberto, and I was very, very, very happy
mm.
that I could understand exactly 95% of what he said. I could understand.
Wow.
I still haven't understand
That's
everything,
very impressive.
but I still cannot write it like they are doing it. But I could understand what he's
Yeah.
doing, and I loved it.
That's huge. I think that's a massive. I've got to say, I think that's a massive achievement. First of all, saying I can't write DAX like Marco and Alberto, fine. I mean, who can? Yeah,
Nobody
no one
can.
can, right?
Nobody
Yeah,
can.
right. But
I don't worry about this.
I honestly, I generally, I mean, I have no doubt if I took one of their courses in person today, I would have the same experience, you know, because their work is obviously their work is fantastic, but the number of times I have to
Mm.
read a second blog post so I can understand their blog post, it happens all the time because they're high level, man. You know, you're not gonna
Yeah,
the
the second book is better.
okay,
Their second book, the second Bible, it's better.
okay,
And if you want to start reading it, I totally recommend starting with um, Matt Ellington's book, The Black Book.
okay.
So
Okay.
Start with the black book,
Yeah.
understand the basics, and then read the definitive guide to DAX, the second one,
Okay.
which is better written than the first
So
one.
do you think it would make more sense to read the second book, or do, because I was thinking of actually like going to one, like doing one of their online courses like Mastering DAX or something. What do you think? What do you think is a better place to start? Does it not matter?
They don't exclude themselves. You have to take them both. You have to have the Bible on your.
Okay, okay, okay. That makes sense, actually. That makes sense. Look at this guy. He's got his books to hand all the time. I love it. He's got his little Power BI library by himself. That okay? So you
Yeah,
have anyway.
you have to have it here. So
Okay, I'll order it.
they
Yeah,
they don't exclude
yeah,
themselves.
that's fair.
And there is one more that you don't have to have, but it's always good to have it. This one.
DAX Pat's true, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, their site is free, but
Mm,
still, I'd rather have it in the book from time to time
mm,
to be able to write down and sit and understand
yeah.
what I'm doing here. I even have the video courses
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
book,
Yeah.
and I still struggle in some
Yeah.
positions.
See, the only book regarding, obviously not like in life because that'd be weird. The only book I've ever read regarding my job is data visualization books. I've never read a DAX book, and I worry that
Well,
I worry that my brain wouldn't be to process it and keep up to keep up. So,
well, I'm pretty sure you will not be able to read it like a novel.
well, yeah, that would be, yeah,
No, nobody
okay,
does.
fair enough.
So whenever you need something, just go to the
Like a
index,
reference book. Yeah.
skim through it, and
All right.
search what you are looking
Yeah,
for.
that's true.
This is not something that I will take it on vacation and I will read the Tax Bible.
Sitting on the
No
beach
way.
reading, no.
Exactly. No way. Nobody will sit on the beach with this.
One day I hope to see that, man. That would be so good just to go to a beach or like someone sitting by a pool with the definitive guide to DAX.
Yeah. Tax memes picture for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I love it. That's really cool. Okay, so I like,
No, but everybody has a different learning style.
yeah, it's true.
So for me, I found out that the best style for me it's the hybrid um, courses.
Yeah.
So if I have a book and I'm reading on my own, trying to understand, do the exercises, and then have some videos presenting some of the stuff that are in the book or the material,
Mm,
and then a Q&A, a 1 hour Q&A,
mm,
where you can ask everything that you haven't uh, cleared yet. It's the best way for
yeah,
me. But
it's true.
I always have the book with
That
me.
makes sense.
But nobody's similar. So
I like this. I was told that from all the books we buy, we should we should at least try to read one.
true.
Yeah, it's good. Um,
In normal books that I'm reading,
mm,
even if I have some of them here started, lately in the last 6 months, I'm using more and more Audible, and I love it
okay. Yeah,
because
I can
it's
understand that.
the only time when I actually have time to read. It's when I'm working in the morning or in the
Mm,
night.
yeah.
I usually have a 1 hour walk in the morning
Mm,
before my
okay.
wife and daughter are waking up.
That's a nice
So
idea.
around 6 or 6:30 in the morning, I'm walking around the streets or in the woods, depending if it's wet or not,
Cool. Yeah.
with some headsets, and that's it. This is the only time when I can read with
Mm,
1.5 speed,
yeah.
and
The
at
reason
least I have some time to read.
it's a nice idea, and to be honest, it's something I might try myself. I always just well, I started to judge myself because what I always started to do is I would go to bed with like a Kindle or something and start to read, but I would just like immediately fall asleep, because I
Mm.
was always like so tired. I've been doing
It's about
so
10 pages before going to sleep,
yeah,
maximum for
yeah,
me,
exactly. It takes me
and
so
it's
long
not
to read any
wasting.
book. And it never
Yeah,
used to be that. And I used to think it never used to be that way. It's age. And it's not. It's because I used to do nothing. Like when I was in my 20s, like my life was just basically, I had like no responsibilities whatsoever. It was just basically, my life was like me. That was it,
yeah,
It's
but
crazy.
growing older and having a tight schedule with a job and kids and everything and extra things that you are doing, you have to really be efficient with your time.
Yeah,
And for me,
that's true.
it it's working like this. I'm
Mm,
usually an early person, so I
mm,
wake up half an hour earlier,
mm,
and I don't spend that much time on the news and everything uh,
yeah,
before starting work. And I have 1 hour time to walk and read some books with Audible,
sure.
or listen to a blog, or
Mm.
listen to a stream or something like this.
Or a podcast.
Yeah, or a podcast.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it happened. It happened that I couldn't join fabricators, and
Yeah,
I was listening to them.
yeah. No, it's a nice thing to do. When
Friday
I
Fabric
when
with
I was
Kevin and
yes, this is
Chris.
a good one. This is a good one. I like that a
Yeah.
lot. Um, when I drove to Denmark for to Power BI Next Step, the entire time it was like so it was like a 5.5 6 hour drive, and it was great. I love to drive, and obviously there was no kids with me, so it was just nice and relaxing.
Mhm.
And I spent the entire time just like podcast after podcast, and it
No,
was just
no,
like so nice. No kids screaming in the background. No having to stop every half an hour because someone needed the toilet or something. It was just drive, just
I
go.
know. I know the feeling. Last
Yeah.
November, I went to Sofia for a conference for
Mm,
Bulgaria Excel Days, and it's a 7 hour drive from
mm,
Timișoara. And I went on my own. I was reading a book, and it
mm,
was audible. It went like a
mm.
charm.
Yeah.
Usually, if I'm going with my daughter, as you said, well,
Mm,
we have to take a break. Well, I'm hungry. I'm whatever.
yeah.
I was alone. It was
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
When I came back, I was hoping to finish the book.
Mm,
I still had 1 hour or two
mm.
of reading, and then went to podcast. And I was so relaxed on Sunday morning, and the police stopped me. What are you
Oh
doing?
no.
What am I doing? You are driving too fast. Yeah, but I was 110, something like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there is a limit. You haven't seen the
I
limit.
hate
It's
that.
a 50
Oh, you
kilometers
don't
limit.
no. You what? You were doing 110
Okay,
to
I haven't checked.
50. That's impressive. Oh, that sucks.
I was so absorbed by the book,
Yeah.
and it was a really good
Yeah.
book
That's fair enough.
with metaverses and things like this.
Mm,
And I loved it, and I was so relaxed.
yeah.
And,
And then
oh, it was a fine, and this is
oh,
it.
that was my next question was a fine, but you got to keep your driving license, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
fair
yeah.
enough
It
then.
was no, normal fine. It was.
Yeah. I had this
I had to get it.
yeah. I had this 110. I actually got a speeding ticket the other day. Nothing that I'm particularly proud of, but it's part of the conversation. And it was actually it was quite embarrassing because I'm not sure if it's the same. Like in Germany, when you get a speeding ticket, they send also a photograph of
Mhm.
of your
Yeah,
face.
same here.
And normally it's actually sometimes
How with your
yeah,
face?
yeah. This is your face, the registration and also your face, and
Yeah.
all the passengers are blurred out. And the cars, it's my wife's car, so all the fine always the fine went to my wife. And of course, it was me driving. And sometimes it's actually quite a good photograph. Sometimes it's actually all right. But on this occasion, this is a ridiculous thing to admit on a live stream. By the way, I was very embarrassing because I was going 10 kilometers an hour too fast. I was going 110 in a 100 zone. So not very much at all. So it was like a €10 fine. But it just so happened at that very moment when they took the photograph, I was picking my nose. So there's a photograph and and I'm like,
Well,
grown man picking his
my
nose driving a car is never a good thing.
my last photos were, I don't know, the last photos that I've seen
Yeah.
were 10 years ago, and at the time in Romania, you couldn't have your pictures from the front with your face.
Okay.
I don't know, there were some rules,
Mm.
and they were taking the picture from the back of the car only with the
Okay.
number. And they were sending you the fine at home, asking who was driving.
Mm. Okay.
And I was planning, well, not a smart thing in a live stream. I was planning to to hit it on my mother, to say that it was my mother.
That's
She
cold,
was
man.
she was not driving too much, and I was getting some points out of it. And to be honest, I had 2 tickets in 5 minutes in 2 different villages. So it was big.
Oi, that sucks.
My wife said, "Well, don't be mean, and take the blame, and this is it." And I said,
Yeah,
"Okay."
that's. I think
So
your wife
it
had a
was
had a
a-
had a fair point there. Oh my God, love it.
yeah,
Oi,
I knew it was there, but
I love it. You poor mo. Anyway, I think Fernando says he has to leave, and it's a good point. We've been talking a while, man. I've really enjoyed it. I got to say, it's been an hour and 20 minutes.
yeah, me
It
too.
flies by, you know.
Yeah,
And it flies by.
me too. I love it. And Donald, it's 110 kilometers, like normal world is
Yeah,
counting
yeah,
speed, not miles per
yeah.
hour.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm telling my UK friends too that in the normal world, we are driving on the right side of the
mm,
road, and we are actually measuring in kilograms and
yeah.
kilometers, and not pounds. And
It's strange because in my generation in the UK, we kind of grew up with both, you know. So I knew like measure
Mhm,
like my height and my weight was all imperial. So the distance on the road, speed was all imperial, but the rest was
mhm.
all metric. So it was strange. So it was nice to move across to Germany and have everything imperial and everything metric. Sorry, just to change and have that one thing. It was quite
Yeah,
crazy.
but I think you got used to it really fast, right?
Oh yeah, really quickly, really.
Mhm. I still
It's
struggle when I hear, uh, I don't know, 110 Fahrenheit. I
yeah.
still struggle. I don't know how. Or
Hmm.
12 nautical miles, which are different than 10 land miles,
Yeah, yeah,
which is 1.69 and 1.85. And I
yeah.
have to do it on my calculator. But
I
in navigation, I can
yeah,
understand it. It's the
mm,
official, the knot and everything.
yeah,
And in aviation with 30,000 feet and so on.
yeah,
But
yeah,
in normal people speak, for
yeah,
me, for us, the non-US and non-UK, it's pretty complicated to
yeah.
understand
It
fits,
gets it's a lot.
uh, inches, and things like this.
Yeah, I also for a while I worked in a bookies, like a betting office, you know, and then
Yeah.
all the races are in like furlongs, you know. You have it's like this race is like 6 furlongs, and I think I could be wrong.
What
I
is
think
that?
is it? It's just I don't know. It's something weird. It's some other unit of measurement that they use in horse racing, and I think I could be wrong. There are like 8 furlongs in a mile, so you have a 7 furlong race, and the next one up is a mile. It's very there are too many units of measurement, you don't measure horses in feet or inches or centimeters. You measure a horse in hands. So a horse is like I don't know, like yeah, like
Yes.
a hand. Yeah, it's like I don't know. So it gets more. If you look at specific subjects, they're like completely other. And then what I like to
Yeah.
bake. I like to like bake stuff, and
Yep.
you get a
Probably
recipe from the US. Say it again, sorry. Oh, I think I lost you for a second, then, mate.
yeah.
Are you back?
It's yeah. Me too. I haven't. I'm back. Hello.
Okay, sorry.
Is it from
I
me
couldn't
or
I couldn't
from
see you for a second.
the screen?
I don't know. Anyway, let's as the internet is trying to ruin our connection, let's just leave it at that and say it's been a wonderful live stream. Thank you everyone for joining and all the questions and all the comments and yeah, it's been good fun as always. Christian, thank you, and
The
I shall see everyone
yeah. See
next
you
Thursday.
next time. Yeah.
Goodbye. Cheers.
Thank you.